Stick control. How do we control the stick? Well, in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do. I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks as to how I control the stick in my hands and a couple different ways you can practice it off of the drum set or even on the drum set to improve your stick control on your drums. Let's get right into today's video. So the first thing I want to look at is how you're gripping the stick. For beginners, let's look down here. You just put your finger out like this. You put the drumstick in the first joint right here, and then you make a pinch point right here. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do this. There's the French grip technique with your thumb up like this, which is basically just all fingers, right? And then there's the German grip, palm down, or the American grip, which is kind of in between the two, okay? So what's going on? Why can't we control our hands? Well, we really need to physically and mentally understand how to do it. So an exercise I want to show you is just basically going from single strokes, right, left, right, into double strokes, into single paradiddles, right, left, left, no accents. If you're looking to get better hand speed and your weak hand is holding you back, I've got some seriously cool exercises for free down in the description below. It's a free mini course for hand speed and technique. If you want to annihilate some bad habits and get rid of that pesky weak hand that's holding back your drumming speed, then these exercises are made just for you. So you can get those for free. Just click the link down in the description below and you'll get them instantly with a lifetime access. Let's get back to the lesson. So you cycle through a bar of 16th note single strokes, a bar of 16th note double strokes, and then a bar of 16th note single paradiddles, and then you restart all over again. So it's going to look and sound something like this. Right? And you just keep cycling back through that. Once you've figured out how to transition properly, we're looking to get the same dynamics. And why dynamics are important is so that we can understand the motions and the mechanics of our grip and technique so that we can understand how to control our levels a lot better. So if you're playing like this, where your dynamics are kind of, like up and down, that's not really what we're going for. What we're going for is a smooth transitional sound, right? We want all the notes to sound equal. We want it to sound like all the way through, ideally. And what that's going to do, that's going to help you with your consistency in your fingers and your wrists, right? So if you're having a problem with your technique, you can also look into how you're actually gripping it, okay? So I'm going to give you a quick little rundown of how you should be holding it. Obviously, you want to go like this and then find your fulcrum. And the fulcrum is not basically the center of the balance, but where you get the most rebound from, right? If you go too far forward, it's kind of going to stay back from the pad or the drum. And if you go too far forward, it's going to be a little more dead in rebound. So you want to find kind of that sweet spot where you can get a good rebound. So one way of doing this is holding the stick on your finger and letting it drop. See how it's kind of got some rebound? I'm not quite in the center of the stick. And I find for me that's where the best rebound is. So if you want to go a little further with this, you can get into the French grip. And basically what the French grip is a grip designed for timpani players so they can get the most amount of power out of their mallets. And that's just thumbs up using fingers. A lot of people say they can't get a lot of power from it, but apparently they've been playing it wrong or they're just not looking into the right information. So playing blast beats and stuff, the French grip is really good for speed. But when you get into your tom fills with the French grip, you'll find that the stick is going to want to roll. And what happens when your stick starts to roll? Well, obviously your stick can lose control and it'll just end up flying out of your hand. So what's awesome about the American or the German grip is that there's more power in your wrist, right? So you can get quite a bit of power out of that, compared to this. The only reason why I like to use those combinations of techniques is that because the French grip is a little less reliable and powerful to do around the toms. And I like to really get into the toms to bring the tone out. So Another thing you can do to practice transitioning between that is just doing your finger strokes, your French grip, and then positioning your wrist upwards, right? Transitioning from the two. Now you don't want to grip the stick too hard. You want to have a little bit of a gap here for the German and American grip, right? Because that stick needs somewhere to go on the rebound. There's a whole bunch of other topics we can talk about, and I don't want to go too deep on it, but you need a little bit of a stick gap here so that when your stick rebounds off the pad or your drum, it has somewhere to go, okay? If you're holding it too tight, you won't get that rebound and you'll just end up hurting yourself. You're gonna hold that tension and you're gonna feel it in your arm. Might not be right away, but you're going to feel it eventually and you're probably gonna hurt yourself. So with that in mind, keep a little bit of a gap. And then when you transition to the French grip, that gap is not necessarily gonna come into play because you're just making that pivot point off of the index finger, like in the fulcrum here, with your index finger and your thumb, right? So that's where it's bouncing. It's not bouncing up here like it is with your wrist, okay? We're looking for consistency. And if you're a right-handed drummer, practice your weak hand first. You're only as good as your weak hand, right? Another thing I'd like to keep in mind too is my stick height, right? If we're going for dynamics here, usually stick height determines the velocity, or all apologies here, I'm not a physics professor, the volume in which we perceive our notes, right? Or which the notes are played. An accent note would normally be played at about 90 degrees, right? And then a ghost note would be about like 15 degrees or something like that, right? But when you start to speed things up, your stick movement is not as big, right? It becomes more of a micro movement because you need to get the stick back to the skin a lot faster. So that stick height drops, but you can still practice your dynamics to help you play with more stick control around the drums. If that's not enough, then I'm gonna put a playlist up here full of hand exercise videos for you to check out if you want to go deeper into hand exercises and getting better at your hand speed. So thanks so much for watching this video. Go check out these videos next, and I'll see you in the next one.